Good evening, campers, and welcome to Star Trek Infinite. My name is Commander Exorcist, and this is a brand new game that was released today by Paradox Interactive, and it's called Star Trek Infinite. And I'm starting off because I want to showcase one of the most beautiful starships ever created, the Enterprise D from Star Trek The Next Generation. I grew up with this starship, so I just had to show off my baby. So, Star Trek Infinite is a very interesting game, and we are going to talk about it because it's going to be kind of a mixed bag across the board, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why that is and whether you should, whether I think that you would probably enjoy this. So let's go back real quick because we're not doing a playthrough or anything, but this is the menu. And so this is built on the Clausewitz engine, which powers Stellaris. Far more than that, this is essentially a Stellaris reskin, and it's been constricted a little bit. So just kind of an overview of the game. So when you hit new game, in contrast to Stellaris, where you can create your own races and your own empires, here you have a selection. You've got the four big ones from the Next Generation era. And each one of them have their own civics and kind of their own way of doing things. To start off, though, there is a pretty in-depth tutorial that focuses exclusively on the Federation, which is nice. And so that's actually what I've been playing since the game was released. And so I've been playing as the Federation, and you can see here is my starbase. And the Miranda-class starships, like the Reliant from the Wrath of Khan, those are kind of the corvettes. Those are the corvettes of Star Trek Infinite's United Federation of Planets setup. So, let's take a little bit of a look real quick. I just kind of want to show you. If you played Stellaris, you're going to recognize about 99% of the features, the functions, and just the overall gameplay. This is really a Stellaris reskin. Now, I'm a big fan of the interface because the interface is really well done. It's got a lot of new stuff. There's a mission tree because this game is really focused around achievements. So you've got these mission objectives, things like, scanning different star systems with the Enterprise and being able to unlock different upgrades and different boosts to your empire. So that's kind of neat. I kind of like the mission focus. Here, this is pretty much the exact same as Stellaris. We've got the expansion planner, no different from Stellaris. We've got edicts and policies. The traditions are laid out a little bit differently, and they're certainly not as complex as they are in Stellaris. But yeah, you've got different opportunities to find your own traditions through Unity. That's right. And then you've got Ascension perks to be able to gain moving as the game moves forward. So kind of speed running it here. The resources, so you can see up here, and I know my logo is blocking a little bit of that. I'm sorry. But you've got energy, deuterium, we've got minerals, food, alloys, unity, and influence, research, and dilithium. So basically, all of these are just Stellaris materials, Stellaris resources. Over here, your outliner. It's exactly like Stellaris, and I don't want to keep harping on that because it's pretty obvious. It was pretty obvious from the onset when this game was advertised that it was going to be a heavily modified version of Stellaris. I will say, though, that there have been some graphical improvements to some of the star systems. The planets look really nice, so let's go in here. And so the planets look really nice. So I mean, these are beautiful. High resolution textures look really nice in Star Trek Infinite. When I say I like the interface, some of this stuff up here is a little confusing. I don't understand why they didn't extend it kind of like they did in Stellaris, all the way across, because now you get some notifications over here where my cursor is, and then sometimes you get notifications over here. So it's kind of weird. Like, that's probably one of my biggest gripes with the game is the notifications are kind of all over the place. The planetary control screen is Stellaris reforged, I guess. It has districts and buildings just like building planets in Stellaris. Planetary features, stuff like impassable mountains and noxious swamps and the like. You can set jobs, you've got your population management, and armies. You'd be able to build armies and queues just like in Stellaris. You've got decisions. These are pretty much cut and pasted. One of the things I did notice, so kind of a coming from so many hours of Stellaris, I really picked up this game quickly. I was able to pretty much sit down and play this game with a moderate level of success, actually. The biggest issue I had is stuff like this energy world, for example, which, by the way, this is gorgeous. These new planetary portraits, I wish Stellaris would get something like this, because being able to see more of your planet, it's just really, really nice. This is a very clean setup. It's not as constricted as Stellaris has its setup, but I really like it. But one of the issues that I had is trying to find some of the features that I know are in this game only because they're in Stellaris, like automation. So automation is here, but you have to set a colony designation. So in Stellaris, you can just turn on automation fully and go with it. In this game, you actually have to designate what kind of world this is. And I was trying to figure out, well, how do I designate it? What is it? Is it this one? Is it here? Actually, no, it's this button. So there's a couple of like mystery meat, because it looks like this without a designation. So it's like, well, how do I designate? And if you don't drag your mouse cursor just a little bit, you may miss it. So that was a little bit of a frustration. We've got, it's pretty much the planetary textures have been upgraded. They look nice. I mean, the game is gorgeous, just like Stellaris is. It's got a little bit of a graphical update, but I mean, this is, this is a straight out of Stellaris resource. Now, let's go ahead and take a look real quick. I'm going to show you the map. So this is the map, and from what I can tell, all of the maps are the same, or they start out pretty much the same. So you have the United Federation of Planets, the Klingon Empire, the Romulans, and the Cardassians. I have not encountered them, but I do have it on good authority that there is a certain race of beings with cube-shaped ships that are in this game, but I have not seen pictures. I've seen some promo stuff, and I haven't encountered them myself. But the map is pretty simple. You start out with a sizable amount of territory, and then you do the exact same thing that you do in Stellaris. You send your ship out to start surveying systems. So you want to survey systems, and then you want to go and build outposts. Now, because in this particular game, I'm struggling with influence, which is a big problem in Stellaris too. Well, it actually came over to this game. So influence is slowing down the spread of the Federation and is possibly jeopardizing any chances that we have of gathering this area over here, which is home to some kind of a highway node, which, as you notice, there are no hyperlanes. So there are no hyperlanes in this game because this game actually takes advantage of the Star Trek warp technology. So if I go here and I select my fleet, I can see this is the area that the fleet is capable of warping to. So they can go anywhere inside this zone. So there's no trade lanes. There's nothing restricting them. And the interesting part is that I like this because they've really kind of captured the spirit of Star Trek. In Stellaris, you have to own, like, this system right here. We could research the anomalies, but if there's an archaeology site or there's a planet or there's something weird going on in that system, a lot of times you have to own that system in order to be able to do anything with it. Well, in this game, you pretty much don't. I can just click my fleet, and send them to that system. Now, they will fly. They actually will warp out. So they don't even fly to the edge. They are gone. And they have warped. And you can't really do anything with them. They are traveling in warp speed. So that's kind of cool. I like that. This is, I don't know. I'm not too sure about this one exactly. It's the same map, and I've only spent a couple hours with the game, and I'm hoping there's a way to kind of randomize this a little bit more, but several of the playthroughs I've started, or at least tested, they pretty much had kind of the same layout. But it really is a battle between the 4 superpowers from Star Trek The Next Generation, which is my favorite Star Trek show. So I really like the aesthetics of that show era, and they've done a great job. It's gorgeous. Like, this artwork and the characters, they've done a fantastic job of capturing the essence of The Next Generation. And, like, you know, the Enterprise here, and again, this is set up just like Stellaris. So, I mean, I'm moving around, looking at, there's the Enterprise there. So, I mean, she looks great. It's beautiful modeling. But I mean, I can sit here and go through decisions and pretty much rule this game because of its close association with Stellaris. And so I really just kind of wanted to go through it real quick and share some of my first impressions. Now, this is a little bit about the game. I'll talk first about the good. I really like the artwork. I like the user interface. I think it's really well done. I like the modeling, and I mean, I like The Next Generation. So I'm glad that they went with that particular timeline. Although it is kind of weird that the main the cover for the game uses the old Star Trek font for the original series, but doesn't use The Next Generation, even though this is Next Generation timeline. I do like the warp concept of not being restricted to the trade lanes, because the hyperspace lanes allow you in Stellaris to be strategic about invasions. Here we have nothing. I mean, Kronos can send a fleet of Klingon ships our way, and we're not going to be able to block them by building some kind of starbase here. They're going to come and just kind of fly through wherever. Unless there's some kind of technology that I haven't researched and I'm not aware of. Like I said, I've only played a few hours of this game, gotten to experience a little bit of what it is, and play around with some of the mechanics. It's so keenly connected to Stellaris that it's hard to really stop going back to that. I mean, everything has got diplomatic mode for the map. All the different features, all the different stuff that we're kind of used to as Stellaris players, it's all there. I'd say the biggest change is our mission tree, which allows us to do certain things, and the kind of the warp transit system. That's a new way of traveling. Looking over here, you've got all of your different options. Technology. So this is a criticism. Technology is F10. In recent updates to Stellaris, they've allowed us to move these around for a preference. I'm hoping that we'll get a little bit of that maybe later, because right now, like, I want technology a little bit further up. Traditions, we already looked at that. Planets management. This is the sectors screen from Stellaris. It's the sectors management screen. It's actually really nice. Contacts, all this stuff is straight up from our sister game. And let's see. Now, one thing that I do like is they've redone. So Star Trek Infinite has a leader cap, but it doesn't have a leader cap like what we do in Stellaris now. It kind of has what they've been working on for future updates. So we're limited by the number of leaders that we can have of a particular class. So we can have 7 scientists, 2 admirals, etc., etc. So yeah, I kind of like that. It made it. It's better than just having kind of an arbitrary leader cap. You can't have anything else. This is it. So let's see what else. So over here you've got your fleets. It's the ship from Lower Decks you get that ship. So there's the ship from the lower deck show. There you go if you like that. And we've got second fleet, and so all these fleets are in their FTL, so we can't do anything with them because they're on their way. Yeah, I kind of like it. I think it's pretty. I think it needs a little bit of refinement on the UI, but I really like the UI. And when I say I like that, I'm really talking about like this kind of stuff. I really like the larger windows to see our planets. I like how this is spaced out. It's a little bit cleaner, a little bit easier to manage. I like this, being able to see the different types of pops that you have on your planet. So yeah. All right. And so let's go and talk. Let's talk some criticisms, because I want to be fair to this. I don't normally do these like first look videos, but because this, like I said, because this game is so closely related to Stellaris, I figured that I would talk about it. I have some criticisms, and my first criticism is the notifications. There's some notifications that appear down here, and then some that appear up here. They're just kind of all over the place, so I don't understand. They need to pick one. Pick a side. Pick over here or over there, but don't have them all over the place. And I honestly don't understand why they just didn't expand the bar all the way across like they did in Stellaris, because this is valuable real estate here that, you know, screen real estate that I just can't see. There's some general kind of weirdness to it, because I have not been able to find where my starbase cap is at. So I don't see starbase cap or fleet cap or any kind of capacity limitations. And I have a feeling that they are there. But I mean, if they're not, great, but there's no indication here of our limitations. Like, how many starbases can I have? Can I turn all of these? Like, I've got a station here, and if I go into it, there it is. Which, again, these are really nice. Can I upgrade it? You know, what's that going to do? So, yeah, it would be nice to, if there's a little bit more information, you know, on the taskbar at the top. The different map modes are a little strange. So you've got expansion map modes for showing planets. You've got exploitation, so which is basically in Stellaris is the details map mode. Scientists. So all this stuff is like broken out, and it's just a little kind of strange that they did it that way. And then there's our trade routes, so which is exactly like Stellaris. It's the trade route setup. So turn these off for now. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier in the video, the map, I think the map is nice. It's pretty, but I'm concerned about replayability after a couple of times of, you know, being the Federation and conquering the Klingon Empire or vice versa. I'm concerned about, you know, what's the longevity of playing this? How many times am I going to come back and do the exact same playthrough? You know, how many times am I going to play with the Federation before I just get bored with it? I'm sure there are other ways to do things in the game and, you know, kind of diversify your approach, but I don't know. It's a little, it's just kind of a strange setup. I get what they were going for, though, because they're being very, very true to the lore of Star Trek. So, and this is kind of like an alternate reality Star Trek. This is the Enterprise C Star Trek with the Kittimer Massacre. Bajor. So let's take a look at this. So this is what the systems look like. Look how empty this is. This is probably one of the most jarring aspects of this game. Now, if I turn the map around, there's a star field kind of spread along here. But if I go back out and then come back in, there's really just nothing. There's just blackness, and that's kind of it's jarring, like, to see the emptiness of space. I guess that I'm so used to seeing Stellaris and its kind of exaggerated sci-fi approach. Even here, you've got this you know, giant nebula here that's twirling and fiery, and there's nothing. There's no indication that this star system is anywhere near a nebula. So that's kind of a nitpicky thing, but it's just an unusual design decision, in my opinion. Here we got our, like, white dwarfs, pulsars, all the star types that are in Stellaris, and we can click on the Empire to pull up the information. We've got modifiers. Victory conditions are apparently a collection of civics, and then you can monitor galactic tension based on interactions with the different factions. So get a variety of different worlds. See that? That's gorgeous. That is really cool. I just really love this planetary setup. So notifications are an issue. There's a couple of weird things like here. So if I click here, well, now it's probably not going to do it because I'm trying to show that off. Yeah, I've had issues where these boxes don't go away. That's been a problem. There's no way that I can see to lock this out. So I would really like to be able to lock this to where I don't have to see that pop out. I'd really like to be able to sort these like in Stellaris, because again, having technology at the bottom is a little rough because it's so much more important. Your mission log is your situation log, so that's pretty standard. Overall, it's an interesting experience, to be honest. I am enjoying myself. I think it's a fun game. It's definitely got some changes from Stellaris, because in Stellaris you can create your own empires and kind of do things your way. It's very, very free. This game is very, very siloed. It's almost the complete opposite. They've taken the Stellaris engine and they've basically locked it down to 4 different empires, and you pick one of those and you kind of role play as one of those 4 empires in the Star Trek universe. And so for me, I kind of enjoy it. I think it's good because I am a Star Trek The Next Generation fan. I am a Stellaris fan. I've been enjoying a little bit. I can't see myself, like, at least in its current state, playing it extensively for the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours that I've put into Stellaris. I just don't see that because I don't know. Eventually, it's going to get to the point where I've done everything, and there's not going to be much else left for me to try out. At least that's my perception at the moment. I may be wrong. I may be completely wrong, and there may be something I'm missing. But I think that if you're into 4X games and you're into Star Trek, it's a decent purchase. I think it's a pretty good purchase. If you play Stellaris and you've played thousands of hours of Stellaris, if you like Star Trek, you might like this game. If you are not a big Star Trek nerd like I am, this game may disappoint you because it's much more simplistic than anything Stellaris has thrown at us. And so I'm not really sure that it would be something to recommend to that particular audience. So things like it's got a couple of cool things. Like, I'll be honest, building the Enterprise was incredible. Like, seeing the Enterprise take off for the first time into warp and start surveying systems, it was really cool. So let's see here. So like so you get a pop-up over here, and then eventually we'll get a pop-up on this side as well. And I'm sorry again, my logo is, and there goes the Enterprise. I think it's gonna survey into the planet. So, and we've got our ships here. And let's go watch our Miranda classes kind of warp into this system here. So, like I said, I think it's a good game. I've only experienced a single bug, and there was some kind of a visual glitch that occurred, and this glitch caused the map to stop responding. So I wasn't able to do anything. I wasn't able to see, I can move my mouse and and move the star.
We have surveyed a new star system.
New star system surveyed. So I wasn't able to move the map at all. Like, there was just no response. And so, but that only happened once, and it took a system restart, and it was good to go. So I'm not sure what was up with that. Some people have reported problems with the launcher. I haven't had any issues with the launcher, and I've been in the game off and on pretty much all day long, testing it out. So, yeah, this is a game that's going to appeal to a niche audience, a very niche audience. If you like Star Trek and you haven't played Stellaris, or you played Stellaris, the key is that how much do you like Star Trek? How much do you like Star Trek The Next Generation? Do you want to role play as the Cardassians or the Klingons, Federation, or the Romulans, or whatever other alien races are waiting out there? Yeah, then this is a game to definitely pick up. I guess my final concern is that this feels like a pet project. It feels like somebody at Paradox really loves Star Trek and has been working hard to modify the game and build a Star Trek game out of Stellaris. And I know that, there's a separate team that's been assigned that's produced this game, and the intention, one of the things they wanted to do, apparently, according to the dev diary, is they were looking to make sure that they created a Star Trek game on the Stellaris engine that could have its own set of DLC and mods. They wanted to kind of branch off from Stellaris itself and not overload the game, which kind of makes sense. But with that, I hope that it actually gets, DLC and updates for an extended period of time, because Stellaris is managed by a pretty robust group of people. They've been doing this for years. They're very good at it, and they're pretty consistent with their updates. And I hope that this game, if has enough people playing it and enough fans to warrant continued development and continued interest in it by the development team itself. So I guess that's kind of my biggest issue. Is it feels like such a novelty thing, such a niche, targeted game, that I hope it continues to get the kind of support that it deserves. I would not be surprised if we do see some changes, especially with this notification stuff here. It would be nice to see a little bit of consolidation, a little bit of more standardization with those things. So I think I've rambled enough with this, but like I said, it is it's a good game. It's not a bad game, and I have not experienced any significant issues with it. It's just, I was very surprised when I picked it up and I started playing how almost muscle memory kicked in from Stellaris. So I would go and start building buildings and districts and setting automations and setting resources and all the things that I do in Stellaris for just basic playthroughs, translated over into Star Trek Infinite. So yeah, I think I've just about covered everything that I wanted to cover. Like I said, I've only played this a few hours, but in my first few hours, I can say that it's not a terrible game. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of Stellaris, not anything like that. So don't believe any doom and gloom that you see out there. It's just kind of a fun Star Trek game, really. So if you're into the Star Trek lore and you're into the Star Trek universe, especially the Next Generation, I'd recommend it. I really would. If you've been thinking about getting into Stellaris and looking at this game, get into Stellaris instead. There's a lot more replayability. If you have the option between Star Trek Infinite and purchasing a copy of Stellaris every day, purchase that instead. But if you like Star Trek and you want to try a 4X game set in that universe, if you want to watch Captain Jean-Luc Picard survey dead planets aboard the Enterprise, like we're seeing here, yeah, Star Trek Infinite is for you. All right. Well, I think that's enough, everyone. I'm not going to give it a number rating because that's not fair. It is initial release it's been out for just little under 24 hours. But I do like it. I just think that it's going to take a very specific audience to get into it and enjoy it and sustain it long term. But we will see how that goes. Only time will tell. All right, everybody, take care, fly safe, and I will see you out there. Good night.